is all we know about Halo 5. Today we're going to be talking about the storyline running up to the release that's coming out soon.
I'm Kevin.
I am Andy.
Brilliant. Yeah, so Andy set this off really. I am not as in-depth knowledge on Halo 5, so this is as much a lesson for me
I'm
as
a
it is for everybody else.
big fucking fan of Halo. It was pretty much the first major game I played as a kid. Really, really fun. I used to go around my neighbour's house just to play it and throw his controller all over the place because I wasn't very good at the start. You would probably say I'm still not very good.
But he's kicking his ass.
But
Just saying.
fucking love it. So Halo 5, tons of speculation around it. This is what we do here as well. We do loads of speculation. I think the first thing what we need to do is really take what we know from the trailers and the cutscenes from what they've said so far. And so what we know so far, Master Chief's gone AWOL. We know that, right?
Yeah.
He's left the UNSC. I read somewhere, I'm not sure if this is true, I read somewhere that they've stated that he assaulted UNSC soldiers when trying to leave. Don't know if that was just an unreliable source or if that is something that Microsoft is actually openly saying. But the point is he's gone. From the trailer, we know that he's still got some sort of missing connection to Cortana. He's holding her former chip. What we also know is the factions so far that are going to be in it. So you've got, obviously, Humanity. The new Spartans, obviously, working with the UNSC. Master Chief and whoever else he's working with. You've got not the new Covenant, but you've got the Sanshire, I think are their proper name, the Elites. The Elites are now their own, obviously, faction. They're an independent body. They're pretty damn powerful as well. Led by the Arbiter, who's making a awesome comeback in his sick golden armour. Get rid of that silver shit. It's golden armour now, by the way.
He's gone up in the ranks.
Yeah, he looks sexy as shit. And he's done by the voice of Captain Anderson from Mass Effect.
Was he not always done by the voice of Captain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were saying.
He's just a lad.
He's in. You haven't seen Arch, have you?
No, is he in that?
Yeah, in Series 6, he's Lana's dad.
That's cool.
I didn't know because it does a lot of voice acting stuff in games. I was like watching it, I was like, I know that voice, and I was like Googling everywhere, but it wasn't out in the UK yet.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to find anything on it.
That's
cool.
Cool.
Eventually I found it.
Yes, we've got that faction. We've got what's left of the Covenant, which is now run by an elite. I cannot remember his name. Jao something, but
He's the guy from Halo 4, isn't he?
he's in Halo 4. He's not in the main campaign. He's in Spartan Ops. He's in the Infinity missions. You do those, and you get videos of him.
Is he in Halo 3? He's in one of the campaigns.
No, he's not. Basically, what the wiki and what we know about him so far is that after the fall of the traditional Covenant, he managed to get hold of any lost elites and any other grunts, whatnot, who still believed in the Great Journey, and managed to, even though he no longer believes in it himself, trick them into following him using the Great Journey. They're essentially the Covenant remnants. Their last stronghold is this place that we see them attack in. We see the humans and elites attack in the new, in the gameplay trailer that was released. I think it was at E3. Yeah, it was at E3 released. So we know that the Covenant are on their last legs. They're now ran by this dude. He's not doing well. Obviously, and also another faction is the Forerunners. We know that they're still in some way or another still around, even though we've seen the demise of the main antagonist from the last game. But we do see that giant eagle, which is clearly a Forerunner design.
Yeah, it's got to be something there.
So it's an interesting link, because we know that the Master Chief is pursuing this in some way. There's also, in the gameplay release, Forerunner there's a Forerunner, oh my god, I've forgotten what they're called. Not Sentinels, they're the humanoid ones.
So the Knights.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called though. God, I should
Knights.
really know. No, I can't remember what they're called though, but they are essentially humans from thousands of years ago, or millions of years ago.
Oh, Prometheans?
Prometheans, there we go,
yeah.
Prometheans. Yes, we see a Promethean say that he's let the Master Chief go, but not Spartan Locke and their team, they're not allowed to, and he starts fighting them. So we've seen that, so we know that the Forerunners and Master Chief are directly linked. We know that the Spartans are working for the UNSC, the new Spartans, not proper Spartans, are now uniting with the Covenant because they have a mutual interest with the Covenant, the Elites, because the Elites want to destroy what's left of the Covenant, and the Spartan Ops team are now, especially under Spartan Locke, who's going to be a main protagonist in this game. You play as him in the gameplay. I'll go in there because they've also found out that Master Chief is there. So it's all linked. They're all coming together. All four of these factions are coming together. And what we also know from Infinity is that Dr. Halsey is now with that elite. She's had her arm taken off her, by the way, as well. Did you complete Infinity or not? The Infinity missions? So every time you complete a set of missions, you get a video.
Yeah.
And it all culminates in a big story, which is Halsey was essentially arrested by humans because she's a bit dark.
She's like a rogue scientist.
Yeah, she's fucking dark. And then eventually the elites capture her. She gets shot in the arm when humanity's trying to grab her back again. She escapes with the leader of the Covenant remnants. And the last video you see is her talking to this new leader, explaining to him she's going to tell him everything she knows, and she's missing an arm. So we don't really know if she still holds something dear for John, so there's going to be some sort of link there, Sierra 117. But from those things we can speculate. And I think it's fair to say that Master Chief is going on his own journey now, especially because, I mean, I know that you didn't grasp Halo 4 as much as I did with the storyline in that.
I played the story once on Legendary. Yeah, we did it as a foursome, didn't we?
Well,
Yeah.
when Master Chief is speaking to the Forerunner wife, essentially, the Didact, we find out that there's a lot more to humanity's past, and that humanity was once an incredibly powerful nation. They were meant to take the mantle after the Forerunners had gone, and that they essentially declared war on the Forerunners. They fought because of aggression, but it was actually to get rid of the Flood, which were their discovery. And by that point, the humans had lost, and their punishment was to be regressed back to primitive species.
Yeah.
So that's where then our evolution kicks off again. And what this woman did is, I can't remember her name, but she put things in place so that humanity would eventually be able to take the mantle. And one of those things she put into place, she doesn't really explain how, but she hinted, is John. John he's different from, even though the original Spartans are different from the new ones, they're better, John is even more unique.
The fact that he's different has been highlighted ever since Halo 3.
Well, Cortana says it, doesn't she?
Yeah, she says that he had something different. He had luck, which kind of implies there's like an external force.
The Forerunners.
Yeah, the Forerunners, maybe something that's done along those lines. I don't know what they would put in place.
Yep. And Halsey also has a role in that because she applied she gave Master Chief the tools to do what she needed him to do, which was Cortana. And it's interesting because it means that humanity. I mean, it even says it in the Master Chief collection on the back of the game case that the seeds of our future are sown in his past. Master Chief is the key to humanity's evolution. Something that Halsey has said, something that the Didact's wife has said. The Master Chief is the way for humanity to move forward and take the mantle. Like Master Chief has to be, the First Order Bravos, but in a Game of Thrones reference, but to the human race. And this storyline, I don't know if this is going to be the last Halo game regarding the Master Chief, but what we can tell is that he's going on his own personal journey for either one of the two or both, Cortana, but he'd try and bring her back in some way, or also for the acceleration of humanities as a species, because humanity is meant to take the mantle, and Master Chief might well be doing that.
Yeah, I suppose what you look at is once they've got the mantle of the game, where are you going to go from there? Whether this will be the last. I mean, how many Halo games can they do?
Well, people thought it would wear out after 3, and then they managed to reboot it hugely successfully.
With 4.
Yeah.
Reach was good.
Well, they brought the ones in the middle. Reach was very good. Awesome storyline. But
I didn't like ODST.
No, it was a bit of a letdown. It was alright, but a bit of a letdown. They said it was meant to originally be a DLC for Halo 3. They probably should have just kept it like that. But
yeah. Well, there's reasons not to do that on there.
Well, they said they just got into it and started expanding it more and more until it was a standalone game.
Yeah, is it a standalone game? How many hours do you reckon you got out of this storyline?
It's not as long. No, it's not as long.
Yeah, if you think about it, it had its own multiplayer,
Yep.
which was basically Halo 3 multiplayer.
Yeah.
It didn't really have much else other than that, did it?
Firefight.
Firefight was cool.
It was really fun.
But you could have just said they probably had the idea for Firefight for a future game.
Yeah.
So let's say that you took the ODST campaign and you just boshed it onto Halo 3. Yeah, it would have been a reasonable DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the vast majority of Halo DLC is map packs. They don't really do any story DLC. But if you think about, for example, a large game,
Yep.
there's a DLC. DLC is normally about 15 to 20 hours.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
I
would
mean,
be good DLC.
I presume it would have been originally some sort of co-op missions that you do as ODST. But besides from that, what's really interesting here is to see that obviously the mantles you're saying about it. Where does humanity go from there? So the idea originally was that the Forerunners would eventually ascend or go to a higher place of living, and humanity would take over the mantle of responsibility, which is to safeguard all other species. Which the Forerunners eventually did fail in containing the Flood. They just couldn't do it, so they did what they could by firing the Halo rings. But humanity is the. I mean, 343 Guilty Spark actually says it says to Master Chief, you are Forerunner. He's saying that we are taking up their role, and humanity can obviously activate devices that nothing else can. I mean, the Covenant, their whole great journey was based on this technology that they couldn't even use.
It's true.
So there's a lot of things going on in the universe of Fallout of Halo 5. I'm stuck in the other games. In Halo 5, because you've got a war going on between what's left of the Covenant, the elites under the Arbiter. You've got humanity getting in the middle of that as well. They're in an uneasy alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really only the friendship between John and the Arbiter that's keeping
I was
them
going to
together.
say, the main keystone in all of this is it's not like humanity's strong and fighting a winning war and John's an asset.
Yeah.
It's you take Master Chief out of the whole mix and they would have lost, like in the first game.
They would have originally, but what I've noticed and what I've been keeping up to date with is that humanity has come back and it's punching hard. So at the end of the Reach game, they imply that they've started resettling back on Reach. You see ships landing and they're like, we've started to rebuild. You see from Halo 4 that the Infinity ship, which is built with Forerunner technology, is powerful as Shiza.
Yeah,
So
it's huge as well.
in one scene in Infinity, it's the biggest. It's bigger than so it's meant to be an equivalent size to a Covenant supercarrier, which you only really get a good look of one in Halo Reach.
Beginning of Halo 4, you see one, don't you? Before you get sucked into.
No, they're regular carriers. So I mean, those regular carriers, they're the same sort of size as our frigates.
Right.
And then the supercarrier is you sit in Reach because you have to get into a smaller ship, fly near to the supercarrier, which basically so a regular size ship is like a pin compared to it, right? They are huge. They're tell you what, the Prophet of Regret ship in Halo 2.
Yeah.
That's one.
Yeah.
Size of a city.
Huge.
Not quite as big as.
The Pillar of Autumn.
No. Pillar of Autumn is smaller, way smaller. I'm talking about the High Charity, their ship.
Oh, right,
they're giant, like planet ship. No, Pillar of Autumn is smaller than a supercarrier. Pillar of Autumn's big, but it's way smaller than a supercarrier. Yeah, like supercarrier is like the size of a city. That's what I meant. How's I relating to the supercarriers again? Well, I've just gone on a rant about them, but I can't remember how we were talking about them.
Yeah, off a tangent.
That's it. The Infinity.
Yeah.
So the Infinity, we see at an opening scene in the Spec Ops missions. That well, not Spec. I keep calling them Spec Ops missions. They're not Spec Ops.
That's what they are.
Yeah. Pretty. Let's just keep calling them that. It comes out of warp, and then that's a Star Trek reference. I'm such a big sci-fi nerd. It's all merged together.
It comes out the other side of a worm.
Yeah,
there you go.
that's me. And it smashes straight through a Covenant ship as it breaks it in two. How powerful shields
Yeah.
are. So it's coming back. They're punching hard. They've started taking back places. The Covenant are on their last legs. Humanity started expanding across planets again. They're rebuilding.
Yeah, that's a lot of John's work.
It is. Yeah. John is the reason they are alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah. The humanity was. Bear in mind that at the start of Halo 2, all humanity has left is Earth. They say. I mean, in the third game, Lord Hood says it really emotionally. Earth is all we have left.
They start going for Earth.
Yeah, they have been broken and broken. Funny enough, do you know who's actually responsible for the severe ass kicking? The Arbiter. You know he was the commander of the fleet that wiped out Reach. He was also the commander of the fleet that wiped out a dozen human planets before that. Because whereas the Covenant were always technologically advanced, like one of their ships could take on 3 of ours, they were always really bad with tactics. He changed that, and he was incredibly good at tactics.
I would wonder with the name Arbiter, because I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure, I'm probably going to get called out this. Arbeit in German means work.
Okay.
So Arbiter would be like the worker.
Well, what I know of the Arbiter in the storyline is before they were part of the Covenant, the Arbiter was the leader of their people. When they got adopted into the Covenant, that remained the case for a while, until an Arbiter stood up against the Covenant and questioned the Great Journey. He was quickly dealt with, and from that point on, the Arbiter was known as it was like a derogatory term, and you became the Arbiter if you change your people, and you can only face redemption by essentially becoming the Arbiter and working off your deeds through great challenges.
Yeah.
So it became a word of misery when it was eventually the pride of their people. So once again, it's returned to that as the Arbiter is now the leader of their people again. So it's essentially returning to their former glory, because the Arbiter was the king of warriors, like absolutely.
Yeah, and he's hardcore in the games as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I thought it was a really nice like change of pace in Halo 3 when you had the co-op.
Yeah.
Is that you played as the Arbiter. It's all very like, what?
We got to play as him in Halo 2, but not with the Master Chief. They were never next to each other.
Yeah, it's cool to see them next to each other. Like you have the beginning of the third game where Master Chief goes like runs up and sticks just stick pistol or tries to stick pistol in his mouth.
Yeah, he sticks it. Like, you should run right into his tentacle face.
Yeah. That little predator face thing.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's good. It's well done.
It's really cool. And it's interesting, because he was, I can't remember his real name. They say it in Halo 2 when you're doing the terminals. But yeah, so he essentially, because he was also incredibly good at tactics, he turned the tide, and humanity just started getting its arse kicked. So 12 human planets burned, all their fleets annihilated.
One good leader is all they needed. Yeah.
So now that he's their ally, it's working in their favour. Humanity's rebuilding. It's got Forerunner tech on his side. No real threats. The Covenant's on its last legs. Yeah. So I think the base of this is obviously they're going to be trying to find the Master Chief. Master Chief has gone on his own journey. I reckon he is in some way he's not working with. He's definitely fighting the Forerunners that are still. So he's well, they're not Forerunners. He's fighting the Prometheans, but the Prometheans still serve a Forerunner. They have to. So I think that there is still some form of Forerunner presence in the universe. Master Chief is trying to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Forerunners are telling the Prometheans to let him buy it.
I was going to say, the big focus of this isn't going to be the Covenant. I think the Covenant are going to be like a minor player in this game.
They're now
by a long way. It's going to be mainly Forerunner.
Yeah.
But what about the Flood?
Well, I actually recently read something where there was a fan theory about the Flood, and here's the way I see the Flood. So you know when there is a famous enemy from a TV show or a film, I mean, for example, like the Daleks in Doctor Who, they're played over and over again, say in the 70s, to the point where they kind of get a bit boring and it ends, the stories. 30 years later, they bring them back in a glorious blaze of just amazement, right? If they do that with the Flood, it will work. So by Fallout 3, Fallout 3 got us tired of the Flood.
Halo 3.
Halo 3. Fuck me,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Halo 3 got us tired of the Flood in a sense. We enjoyed playing as them, but by the end of it, I mean, they weren't as good as the Flood in Halo 1 or Halo 2.
No, I think you don't remember the mission in. I can't remember what that ship was called. The Flood ship.
Yeah.
The taken over carrier. You know what I'm talking about?
High Charizard.
With the Gravesend. Yeah, there you go.
Gravemind.
Gravemind, that's it. that kind of, for me, I was like, I've had enough of the Flood now, you know? They got a bit annoying to fight in a way.
Well, they're the enemy that when you're dealing with a series, you always have to introduce a. I mean, they're like the Laminate in Gears of War. When you're fighting the Locust, it turns out there's another far more powerful bad guy.
Lambert, isn't it?
Lambert, that's it, not Laminate.
Yeah, Lambert.
That's a wood.
That's a different thing. Always what you do to paper, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah. You need the bit of diversity, but now we've got 3 different enemies in Halo.
Well, like I said, this is. I think what they've turned it into is, they're showcasing the whole way that the galaxy is right now. Master Chief is doing something far beyond their reach.
Yeah, do you think, I don't think the Flood would appear in Halo 5.
See, I'm thinking they might, and here's how I was going to suggest it, so that they come back in. So what we know about the Floods, a single Flood spore can wipe out an entire civilization. Yeah, because once it starts multiplying, you're fucked. I reckon if it is brought back correctly, as in if they properly slam the new graphics onto it, they really bring it back as a scary force. You've got to bring it back to Halo 1. They've got to bring them as scary. Do you remember playing Halo 1 as a kid?
Yeah.
Shat myself playing that game.
Yeah, I remember that. It's one of the first missions, isn't it?
It's not. You get halfway through the game.
It's when you go into that swamp area.
Yeah,
and you start going down. I remember the whole thing with the light bridge.
You see the Covenant all running away, and then you watch through the headset of a soldier and how they get attacked by him. Oh, it's terrifying.
It was rough. Yeah.
I was playing it recently. Still gave me a little bit of a jeer. But as I'm saying, they've got to bring it back in a terrifying way. They've got to bring it back hard, strong, and it has got to be sort of new. So one spore maybe gets out, maybe someone was holding it, breaks out, it escapes, multiplies. Something like that. But I wouldn't be too sad if they weren't in it, but if it was done correctly, I'd love that they were in it. But I still think that this might be the final one for Master Chief. It's culminated so much around it. We've got Spartan Lock now, who we should probably speak more about. There's been a few interesting trailers around this. One trailer is obviously, which was in Halo 2 at the start, now the remastered one, shows Spartan Lock talking with the Arbiter. Him and his new Spartans are after Master Chief. They're trying to find him. He went AWOL. He said his job under the UNSC is to find him. We see a trailer that came out not too long ago where Spartan 117 is walking up to a appearing dead but probably not Spartan Lock on the floor, and he's entirely fucked on the floor.
Yeah, and he stands over him, doesn't he?
And Master Chief says, "Yeah, you come this far, you won't come any further." And then you showed me a trailer a couple of days ago, which is the newest one's come out.
Death of the Hero, is it?
Fall of the Hero, I think.
Fall of the Hero.
And it's the announcement that Master Chief is deaf, is showing him dying. Now, I think everyone out there will agree with me. This is not how he's dying. You don't build a series for, what is it now, 15 years?
2001 was the first one.
So 14-year series. You don't build a 14-1 series around a hero that's become one of the icons of the gaming industry and Microsoft, and you don't tell us how he's going to die in the trailer and make it look boring as shit. A building falls on him. It's not happening. That's how Soap died in Call of Duty. People were fucked off to shit. A building fell on him. This is he fell off a building, but
same thing.
Same thing. So this is what they're doing here is they're building hype, and obviously you had a good idea, which is that it's the UNSC. Rather than telling everyone that their loved Master Chief has gone AWOL, they're telling him that he's died.
Yeah, easy to sort of swing it that way.
Yeah,
and then people stop looking for him as well and stuff like that.
Yeah, there is no way in hell that he dies that way. It's just to get you excited. I do believe that he could die. It's entirely possible he could die. He's
I want if he does die, I want him and Cortana to I want him to have the Cortana chip in him. I want them trying to destroy Cortana because they want to reclaim her, don't they? Because she's out of time.
He is the reclaimer.
Pardon?
Master Chief is reclaimer.
No, they want to reclaim her.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So basically, because she's out of time, you know how they have like a certain life on her.
Well, she's dead. Cortana's dead.
Is she dead now?
From
She didn't die in the fourth one.
yeah, she did.
Did she?
So basically, she was
I'm
she
not
was
really
going
sure
rampant.
at all.
She was going rampant. Right at the end of it, she uses what's essentially left of her sanity to essentially breach into the physical world, take control of or hold back. What's his name? I said his name earlier. I can't remember it now. Didact.
Yeah.
That's it. The Didact holding back while Master Chief fucked him. She then essentially used what was left to save him from the explosion, and then she dies. They have that really emotional scene at the end. She essentially like powers down, but the thing is, from what it shows from the first ever Halo 5 trailer, where he's holding a thing, he's got that massive eagle that's Forerunner tick in front of him. He's trying to bring her back.
Yeah, it's they're thinking of a way to power her up.
Yep, and as she states, because I'm playing through Halo 4 again in my I'm playing through all the campaigns in a row. At the start of it, she does actually say, because she's unique from any other AI, she's built from human flesh, she's designed off like human DNA. The rules apply differently to her, which means that there may well be a way to save her.
Keep her life, yeah. I think there's going to be an interesting thing with Spartan Locke, and you've got Spartan Locke up there and Master Chief.
Yeah.
Sort of them being like akin
Yeah.
in a way, you know what I mean?
It's entirely possible, in one theory, if Master Chief dies, Spartan Locke becomes the new chief. I mean, there's the saying Spartans never die.
Yeah, I think it in the way like. So Master Chief's got he's got his assault rifle, he's got his classic armour.
Yeah.
Right. The classic Spartan stuff.
Yeah.
And you look at Spartan Locke there
Yeah.
with a battle rifle, DMR battle rifle.
DMR.
DMR?
No, battle
Yeah,
rifle.
battle rifle.
Yeah.
Battle rifle, like whatever. Spartan Locke is he's like a different kind of Master Chief. You know, like as if you had a different class in the game.
Yeah.
Like Master Chief is this run and gun sort of
Yeah.
thing, like thing. Spartan Locke is this more cold, more calculated, more technically up to date, more precise with right. All this sort of like making Spartan Locke like this is where we're going.
Well, as Dr. Halsey would put it, Spartan Locke wouldn't even technically be a Spartan. Dr. Halsey designed them from children, augmented them so that their life is war, their mind is war, they're emotionally dead. I mean, at one point in the opening scene for Halo 4, a supposedly UNSC officer asks her, do you think it's their lack of compassion that makes them so effective? And stuff like that. And yeah, they're built to
It's
be
going to show
machines.
the riots, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, they showed the Covenant attacking. And like he says that they showed signs of social disorder, or no, sorry, inability to socialise, stuff like that. And she says, but they also showed incredibly good battle capabilities.
Yeah.
Spartan Locke, on the other hand, like the new Spartans, who Halsey would disregard as being Spartans, they're essentially well-trained ODST and other soldiers who have been given the equipment and tools of a Spartan, but they don't have the mind of a Spartan. A Spartan has to be augmented from essentially childhood.
What you do have to keep in mind is that Locke has caught up with Master Chief. Master Chief's got Abel running away trying to fix Cortana. Locke's found him.
Locke will never be a true Spartan.
But but what I'm saying is, sure they're different, right? But Locke has. So I'm not saying. So I appreciate you're saying Locke isn't a Spartan. I'm sure I get behind you on that. But Locke is a different kind of Master Chief.
Yeah.
Like Master Chief is the old school, but Locke is adapted,
Yeah.
and Locke has his own completely separate strength.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of what this is. I don't remember the Fable 2 case where you had the. Was it the child looking in the? Well, no, it was you had the good one on the top and the bad one on the bottom.
Yeah,
Remember
that was
Single
very
Hunter?
cool. That was in first and second game.
Yeah, kind of similar to this. So you've got
The good and the evil.
well, no, I wouldn't say good and evil because
Okay.
they're both like, technically good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Locke's bad, but what I'd say is they're two different versions of the same sort of thing.
Okay.
I appreciate you saying that he's not a Spartan, and sure he's not. But what I
Well,
mean is like he's the more
I'm not saying he's
tactical.
in the Spartan, it's just he's not the Spartans.
Well, no, yeah, you're right because the fact that they have the augmentation, like
Yeah.
basically the chemical that they add to them as a kid.
yeah, there's a few things they do, so they add
Yeah.
machinery and stuff to them as well.
Yeah, the fact that he hasn't got all that from birth
Yeah.
makes a dramatic change. But the fact that Locke has caught up with Master Chief
Yeah.
and is getting up to him and whatever, and they get to the point where they're meeting,
Yeah.
says a shit ton about Locke.
It does. No, don't get me wrong. Locke is an awesome person. He's incredibly well trained. He's very smart. As are the other Spartans with him. One of the Spartans with him is one of the main characters out of Halo 3 ODST as well. It's some characters that we've seen before who are badass. They're now Spartans. But the issue is that Locke will always be a man in the suit. Master Chief is essentially him and the original Spartans are guardians. Their entire life is about protecting humanity, even if they're never really truly part of it.
Yeah, they're meant to be like an external force with an effect.
Yeah, and even if
inwards, yeah.
they're essentially the parachute regiment, that's a British
Yeah.
joke. And even if he is, even if he's distant, he is 100%. He has his mind. I mean, the Grave Mind says in the second game, he has his mind concluded. He knows exactly what he wants. Humanity.
Yeah.
Advancing humanity. He is so much more than Spartan. Spartan is a human in a suit. Master Chief is the suit. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
He is, and there is. I mean, Spartan hasn't got a chance on his own. That's why they've sent an entire squad after him. You see what I mean? Master Chief's got his entirely own game, but don't get me wrong. He isn't disregarding humanity. He isn't abandoning the UNSC because he doesn't care about humanity. I think exactly what he's trying to do here is advance humanity. And another key point to mention is linking to what Halsey says about the emotion at the start of the game, saying that they're socially unaware really. They're and makes them efficient in battle. Master Chief becomes more and more emotionally distort throughout Halo 4 regarding Cortana. As she starts to get Cortana, as she starts to get worse and worse, you see him starting to break.
Yeah.
And at the end, after Cortana's died and he's speaking to the new commander of the Infinity, or not the new commander, rather like one of the lieutenants of Infinity, the guy's quite a lad in it. They're essentially talking about Earth and humanity and that. Master Chief just seems like he's broken.
Yeah.
And he is only, and that's what happens at the start of Halo 4. He says to Halsey, "Do you believe that the Master Chief succeeded in his mission because he was at his very core broken?" Which is interesting. So he could well in fact now just be, his emotion is broken through. He is after all human to an extent, and he's now going after Cortana. But I still don't think he would disregard humanity.
Yeah, it's kind of his thing, isn't it? It's like he's not part of it, but he wants to conserve it.
Yeah.
Whereas Locke is part of it. Like Locke probably goes home to a family or whatever.
Well, yeah, this is it, yeah.
Whereas obviously Master Chief doesn't.
Yeah.
Master Chief's life is,
That's
as you say, the suit.
Yeah, he is Master Chief.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting. I mean, we know that we play as Locke, and I want to see at what point we play as Master Chief. It'd be very interesting.
It'll be nice because Locke's gameplay is going to be very much a fire team sort of thing.
Yeah.
You've got your 3 other Spartans, as it were, and you fight with them and you coordinate them very well. Whereas Master Chief will be, I imagine, just a solo endeavour.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think the first few missions will be catching up to him as Locke and your team, and then because obviously you can play multiplayer, so you play as the members of the team. After that, I think we're going to see the Master Chief take on his regular role. But I genuinely, we can't really predict on how this game could end until we know the real enemies we're going to be facing, and we don't.
Yeah.
We know that there's issues going on in the universe right now between different factions, but we don't know how this is going to culminate in some big thing. So I can't really predict if this is going to be the last Halo until I know the severity of it. If it's a truly dire situation, this could well be the last Halo because it would be that culminating to him, Master Chief sacrificing himself in some way. But this could well be setting it up for Halo 6, which could be the last one.
Who do you think, if you play, you know how you've always been able to do Halo, since Halo 3, isn't it? 4-player co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think you'll play with if you play as Master Chief? Who do you think the other characters will be?
They might just go back to their original thing, which is they just duplicate the Master Chief.
Yeah.
You used to play as just 4 Master Chiefs, didn't you, or whatever?
Yeah, I suppose. If he and Spartan Locke fought together, you'd do it that way.
I reckon that would happen. But I can imagine some sort. We need to know the enemy really to strongly
They may
predict.
join teams. They may join up.
Yeah. Well, it's entirely likely that the enemy here could be what's left of the Covenant. It could be a culmination meet between what's left of the Covenant, humanity, the Arbiter's forces, the whatever presence the Forerunners still have in their Prometheans, humanity, the Master Chief, Spartan Locke, and possibly even the Flood. All those things culminating could lead to one hell of a battle.
Yeah.
And then I think in some way, perhaps, if this is the last Halo involving the Master Chief, because the franchise won't die here, but Master Chief could die, Spartan Locke could assume the role, perhaps.
Yeah.
It is, after all about taking the mantle.
That's a fair
see what I
point.
mean? That Locke takes the mantle.
Of Master Chief, yeah.
Yeah.
As in the same way humanity
takes the mantle.
There's a tie.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm just suggesting things here, guys. If you want to, disagree, please go ahead.
Yeah. I can see where you get to that thing. I don't think it will be. I don't think he will take over from Master Chief. I don't think it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like here, they are implying that albeit they come from the same sort of stock, they are different.
Yeah.
You know, they are fundamentally different.
Yeah.
Locke's not as good as Master Chief, as you say. It's just not going to happen. He hasn't got the same augmentations.
I saw an interesting gameplay trailer recently. Doesn't show much at all, but it does have the Master Chief, and he's in a pelican with other Spartans. Very, very interesting video, actually, only short, but they essentially come up on what appears to be some sort of ancient form of technology. It could be Forerunner, but you're not too sure. It could be Forerunner, Human, or Covenant. The design is really unique. It could really be one of either. And the Master Chief is in a pelican with 2 other Spartans. I'm going to presume they're Mark 1 Spartans, they're the original Spartans, because he would more likely ally himself with them. And that they're in space in the Spartan. They jump out of the pelican, flying towards the ship. There are Covenant remnants inside. They smash through the glass, aim their guns at the Covenant. As the Covenant pull out their energy swords, it suddenly occurs to them the window's been smashed and the vacuum sucks them all out. And then the Spartans are just standing there with their like magnetic grips. And that's all you really see of Master Chief entering a mission. So he has got some backup. He's not on his own.
But it's just obviously fighting the Covenant as well. Like they're not going to be.
Oh
like
yeah, the
a
Covenant
major
remnants. They're the first enemy you fight in the game because we've seen from the gameplay.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's I don't know. It's very, very interesting.
There's a lot of things,
Yeah.
a lot of irons in the fire. Here.
What I like is, even though the game, people believe the storyline had ended after the 3rd one, in just one game they've managed to create an environment where there are a lot of different conflicts going on. They've done really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to agree. Right. Well, I'd say that is all we know about Halo 5, the story so
All
far.
we know about Halo 5 story.
Yeah, with a lot of speculation there.
Yeah.
What's-
If there's any information I missed or I'm being a complete idiot about things, then please leave me a rather polite comment below and I will absolutely ignore that.
Don't make it polite. Absolutely. Anyway, cheers guys. Thanks.
See you later.
See ya.